Thank you for joining the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, President Buhari plans to expand his cabinet. Policeman arrested in Anambra State for abduction, rape of 14-year-old girl. And later on the program, Governor Nasiru El-Rufai insists on sacking 22,000 teachers as he dismisses threats. I'll be hanging out with Charles Ideo, Adeola Yusuf, and Gani Kayode Balogun. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now.
My name is Abdullahi Umar Ganouji, the governor of Kano State. I do watch journalists hang out. I don't miss it. I ask you, please don't miss it. Thank you.
Governor Abdullahi Ganouji there, governor of Kano State. Now, when the wind of change blew from former President Goodluck Jonathan out of office in 2015, Nigerians thought that the change they had elected would start changing the situation of the country almost immediately. But it took the change 6 and tortuous months to form his cabinet. He appointed those who dazzled the Senate with their CVs. Today, not many Nigerians remember their names anymore. As a matter of fact, there's a man called Eneke Lokobiri is still in this cabinet.
Yeah, I know.
Some of them have become spectators in a cabinet needing the ideas to fix Nigeria. Even the supposed superstar among them are better at public speaking than getting things done. Rhetorics, all rhetorics. Over the months, Nigerians have demanded that the cabinets be reshuffled. On Tuesday, the change announced that it will soon expand its cabinet and inject new brains. Critics wonder, should Nigerians be told about plans to reshuffle or expand the cabinet, or be told that the cabinet has been expanded? Gentlemen, well, President Muhammadu Buhari is playing the politics. He has been sleeping. And the politics of 2019 just started. With this statement, he's aware 2 years down the line, most of those parastatals, most of those boards, they are not manned. A lot of people that worked for his party across the country, they are all around, no patronage. Even the critical ministries that you feel that, okay, the first thing they did was to collapse most of those ministries and to run a lean cabinet with time. And those appointments, we thought it was going to be forthcoming. It never came. So many other roles lying fallow. Right now, the change himself is telling us that we are going to expand our cabinet. Should it be a case of expansion or, how will I put it?
Total reform.
Or reshuffle. Or replace. Well, you must understand the way Buhari thinks. If it takes a man 6 months to form a cabinet,
to give us a Fashola, to give us a Lai Mohammed, to give us Rotimi Amechi,
the usual suspects.
Do you understand? To give us these people, if it took 6 months, somebody said May 29th, that list would have been ready. As he was reading his inaugural speech, if you are going to give us a Lai Mohammed, a Fashola, the Rotimi Amechi, those are the people that worked with you during your electionary period, and we expected that just they should hit the ground running. It took him 6 months.
But what some of us think is the fact that even with the promise he made on Friday, we don't expect any action for the next 2-3 months anyway.
In spite of what he said?
In fact, what he said is going to be the precursor of more speeches till around October. We are in October now. Maybe around January 1 or January 2 or February 1. Back to your original question. The party, in its wisdom, gave Mr. President the list of those who worked for the campaign. There are about 4 levels. The Buhari Campaign Organization, there are different committees, about 18 committees.
You remember Senator Olorunniyi Mamora,
the
Deputy Director General
Even
of the campaign?
Even the current SSG was also a deputy deputy head of the campaign.
Yes. Boss.
And some of us are also part of the strategic committee of the party campaign. The party forwarded names immediately, like any party would do, to the presidency. We thought it's going to take in a cash of 3 over a period of 3 months. If I know people who work for the party who had already earmarked where they're going to work. And I know some PDP appointees who have cleaned their desk, waiting for the order for them to go home. Some of them I know are still there till today.
They're still holding on to their job.
And that to me is failure of leadership. You cannot get angels if you are looking for sense. You have to work with human beings that you see. And if you are going to give us the usual suspects after 6 months, it behoves on the system to ensure that those who work for your victory are compensated. A lot of them will not even have been angry. But those who are family members of the president got appointments very quickly. Those who are...
How do you mean? How do you mean? We have
No,
to...
the one you called kitchen cabinet. You remember that time?
Those
the
who
very
are,
first set of appointments.
Those,
and that, I think
the
that's
woman,
yes.
the woman,
natural.
the woman in INEC got appointed very early.
Yes.
No,
The woman
she's
in
been there. She's been there.
The woman in
Before
NPA,
now.
No, to replace Jagas at that time.
The lady in NPA is a grade A agency. Was brought in very quickly. You understand? Another 6-7 months. Some, like the maritime, took a year. I can go on and on about
Nimasa?
after the election, after the court case.
Nimasa did not take
After
a year.
the court
After
case.
the court case, okay.
After the court case, after he lost
Yes.
At the
at the
Supreme
week
Court.
at the Supreme
I
Court.
think
So
some
you are
weeks after.
taking back, no.
That was
It took a while.
Dakuku.
Okay.
Peter side. So the president has shown his ability to take his time. Even look at the reports of the grass cutter and the
scandal.
And the home finance officer. It took months. So, like I said, I do not expect anything soon from this president. This is a political statement, basically to douse the rebellion within the party. Make them feel good, tell them I'm listening to you. But you and I know this cabinet will stay minimum till January next year.
Wow, Charles.
Yes.
When you look at the APC right now, and I think some people have been able to tell Mr. President that all is not well. And for you to fix this party before, if you go for a primaries like this, this might be disastrous. That let's fix the party and all the gladiators should be sorted out and one way or the other, giving their full soldiers appointments.
Well, if you look at I really don't envy the president. If anybody's coming here want to play politics the way Americans play, but you always fail because there is the Nigerian type democracy, there is the African type democracy, and and this democracy that we play here in Nigeria has to do about it's about you. What did you offer? And then when somebody has offered something to the table, then when it comes to sharing the largesse, you must be able to reach out to the person. I mean, exactly. But when you come in here and then after we have won the election, the greatest undoing of the party as at that time when they won the election was because this is one of the factors. The sectional interests were not collapsed into one. You see how the CPC interest, which was like a
largest
exactly.
share.
You had the Malami and
they are the smallest shareholders.
but exactly, they got the followed by the ANPP, followed by ANPP. So all these interests were looming large, and the influence was looming large within what's supposed to be APC, a central party. But you never felt it. So which was what resulted to that delay for about 6 months. If I bring it from CPC, what about the ACN interest? What about the NPP interest? What about the half PDP interest? You remember the new PDP?
New PDP.
So all these interests...
I thought that interest had been taken care of with the emergence of the Senate president.
Oh, but what about Amici? Amici, of course, Amici also represented that interest.
Okay.
Amici also represented that interest.
All right.
So these were the things that were the centrifugal forces pulling from the center. So you didn't know who to go to be able to run to the next level. But having said that, as GKB has said, as we have said now, if you look at the president's antecedent, when he speaks, it takes another a few months or so for him to now begin to act on it. But right now we have 36 minister, including him making it 37th, out of who you have 13 ministers of state, and then you have 24 substantive ministers, after which you have about 15 women or so. What you are going to find out, okay, now we understand that in the calculation coming, we are expecting about 8 ministers, one from Lagos, one from Kano, first of all. Then you now have one from each of the, so making 8. We're going to be having about 45. So what we should be talking about now is reshuffling, not expansion. Because if you look at exactly about the expansion, the issue of this, he wanted to run a very lean government so that people can benefit.
That purpose would have been defeated.
So that people can benefit.
The report,
exactly,
recommendation, and everything.
You are right,
for
indeed.
this. Was it Orosoye?
Orosoye report, yes. Okay. But now, if he does expansion, right, the frugality of the government he wanted so that people can benefit will be jettisoned. What is going to happen is that he's going to run a bogus government, a profligate government, and then the people are going to suffer. But that is not what we need. But if you also want to do something, if you want to expand, maybe we have to unbundle the tripartite ministry.
Some of them.
The tripartite ministry, exactly. So that you can let's unbundle that and free that, but not just bring a whole of about 8 more ministers. I think it's going to cause a lot of trouble in the system.
Bloat bureaucracy.
Honestly, and it's
now
not
while it might not be in your interest,
yes.
While you are saying that, look, but the APC as a party, they are looking at their own interests. He said so, that they have a lot of people. President Buhari is like indebted to so many of these interests. And he must play the game. He must play the politics.
Yeah, truth of the matter is that it's long overdue. Everyone agrees to the fact that what we should have read from the newspaper is the president reshuffled or did whatever he planned to do. Not that I will do it. Nobody. I think it got to a level that I begin to start feeling that the president enjoys it anytime he put people in suspense like this. Aside from the 6 months we have been talking about, you know that it took the president months before he could replace the Kogi slot after the death of
Ochuli.
And everyone knows that.
It was a year after.
Yes, it was a year after.
Yes.
And people cry. I mean, people shouted. People, you know, I think he enjoys that. So, looking at what we have at hand.
Enjoys it.
Also, it seems
political consideration and.
Let me give you another instance. You've immediately, Mama Taraba made the statement, the popular statement. Everyone expected that the second day an action will be taken. The president will not do it. I was talking to someone. I said,
don't you think that is strategic?
That is what I'm.
Don't you think that is strategic?
That is what I'm telling you. That
taking an action immediately after saying that, and the next day
that would have gone well. That would have gone well. That would have been.
Okay, this is another instance. Immediately after the popular, the celebrated letter of Kachiku, Minister of State for Petroleum, was leaked. You will expect an action. A lot of people started talking about the president soiled his hand by portraying himself as someone that favors. But I was telling people that truth of the matter is that I think being a general is a strategist. He will want people to side up. But let's put it on the table. Do we need cabinet reshuffle if it's long overdue? If you look at the letter written by Kachiku, he accused the president or the people that were of shielding the president. A minister of state for president could not see the president. You have said it earlier. That is those that are even there now. So what is the fate of people that is bringing on board? Truth of the matter is that he should take this action and take it as fast as possible. There is no need of telling us that you want to reshuffle the cabinet.
No, this is reshuffle. He wants to expand.
He wanted to expand. He wants to expand. He wants to expand the cabinet. Bring fresh blood.
And those boards.
Yes, he wanted to do that. So there's no need of telling us. He should do it, and people will read it on the paper. Okay, we will be so excited to even read that. Okay, this is what has happened. So I believe the president should take that action and leave us with with going through the stress of waiting again, because I think he enjoys that.
I've moved with people in government to understand that sometimes these things are not the way we look at it in the public. Right? Why doesn't he do this? Why doesn't he do that? There are so many interests, so many things playing out that, you know, by the time you begin to see it and you understand it, Nigerians will know that it's not as easy as nominate this person pronto, put this person there. And it's not because Mr. President wants to be slow naturally, but there are so many considerations. GKB, do you believe in those hands that are playing behind?
But you can also make the same case for why he's not acting. We are just creating excuses for, I don't want to use the word incompetence. One, we all know that you have to get security clearance. And sometimes your name will be the last name, 22 hours to announcement, and there will be a security report that will knock you off the table. It happens, but it doesn't happen all the time. For example, you know you have 4 years, and you made up your mind, I'm going to reshuffle every 24 months. 12 months after the fact, you start getting reports on the activities and performances of those ministers. And you have that, they're already cleared. They already have security clearance. So you can walk through that and then tinkle with it while you want to wield the big stick. But this man has shown a persistent pattern of taking decisions slowly. It takes months.
Carefully or slowly?
Slowly.
We are all this paper, we know what we And so you have to wait. So I don't get excited when they say Buhari said he's going to do anything. I get excited when it's done. And that's the tragedy of adult. Nigerians are not the patient type. And if you are going to lead them, you have to show the way they think and accommodate it. The reality is this. Just like he said, the additional ministers are basically an acceptance that the original list was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you don't know politics that is going on. There are some states that the president unilaterally and above the interest of the party picked ministers. If I know a state where I picked this lawyer, you understand? I know a place where I picked the wife of an old friend.
The governors weren't consulted.
Some were not consulted. Remember the woman who rejected?
Yes.
Because he went to the governor.
Yes.
The Plateau State woman.
Yes. Pauline Tallen.
She went to the governor.
So he wanted to look after her husband.
Not even aware. Nobody consulted him for the slot for his states. This, of course, is part of the problem of configuring for 2019.
Yes.
Because those people you abandoned, let me use that word. And when your supporters are calling inconsequential their votes, are waiting for you to come back and listen to the stories you are going to tell in reality what they promised. And I can tell you, there's a Yoruba proverb: you do me once, shame on me. You do me twice, I do me once, shame on you. You do me twice, shame on me. Because this man has shown a consistent pattern of having his own way in his own image. I don't think he uses the party only for the convenience that it provides. Remember, this is the first meeting of that level that the party will hold in 2 years.
Yes.
The level, first time, 2 years after coming to power, you've not reviewed policy, you've not reviewed programs, you've not done what they call attendance elements. In things that you need to do to move forward. You are running the government as your own man, using people you know from APA, from
ANPP,
CPC, people you know from CPC, people you know from PTF,
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
and those you know from your locality.
You trying to accuse the president
I'm
of
not accusing anybody of
I
anything.
mean,
It's what we all do. If you are comfortable with people in a particular area, you have the right to do that.
Yes.
But you must understand that these people don't hold the votes that will put you back in.
That's right.
That's the reality. You may be comfortable with people from a particular section of the country. Like I said, I don't care about that. But remember, this is a democracy.
Wait for you at the polls.
Ultimately, they will wait for you and remind you that why you coming to us. Go to the people go to your PTF bodies, go to your ANPP bodies, or go to your CPC people. Why you coming to us again? And this is what he's trying to correct. But like I said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
For me, I think it's a delicate balancing.
Okay.
You see, look, as I said earlier, I'm going to repeat it, I do not envy him at all. Because you know why? If he wants to continue to do it the way he has been doing it, they will wait for him at the point and punish him. Because, as I said, you can't do, look, you will need the platform of some political heavyweight for you to return. And if you step on those big weights, they will wait for you at the polls. It's either if you desire second term, you have to do this. That's exactly where we are now. as you're saying, the president is beginning to play politics. For the very first 2 years, he was a man of himself, what he said, and for nobody...
Wasn't even interested in the party.
And for nobody...
He did not even fund the party, he wasn't funding the party.
Look at the emergence of the leadership of the Senate. Yes. He said he was a man of I mean, it was for nobody and for everybody. But we have seen now that he has to be for everybody. If he's not for everybody, he can't return. Yes. So that's the level where we are now. Because a politician has to be for everybody. Because you must pander to the interest, you must pander to the needs of some people who will hold up the ladder for you to get back to that top. Because
okay, let me quickly pick this call. Wale is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Wale.
Good evening, Asubabu.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody in this.
Good evening.
Buhari is the aspect of his problem, the way he's running the country. After you say you work with anybody, when you put all PDP that you condemn, position of authority, how do you expect your government to succeed? Let them there and they are there, they are organizing your policies, putting everything in the bad shape so that your government will not succeed. You have removed all those strategies of PDP, position of authority, so that the AP people will do their business and put government in a good shape. So that is what we are expecting. All those PDP people in position of authority and they are permitting.
Thank you, Wale. Thank you for calling, Wale.
We're now beginning to see President Buhari, the school of politics.
Okay, but looking at the complexity of the government, looking at at the end of the day, you now discover that not necessarily people that worked for his emergence and campaigns and everything, the president went to go and bring technocrats. He went to go and bring people, as in his cabinet, talking about, you know, in terms of qualifications, they might not be in the right positions. But when you talk about their CVs and everything, we saw what happened in Senate screening and everything. What do you think? What do you think is happening within that cabinet? Do you need to
first of all,
let me talk to Angela.
I know for sure that the president has from his action shown that he has been doing a lot of things, has been doing deliberately. He has been able to show it, the first phase of the stanza, for nobody. He has, even though a lot of people disagree that is for some people, but he has been able to, you know, strive to show that it's for nobody. But now, I think for 2 years he has been able to do that. But this second 2 years is trying to show that it's for everybody, which is very, very good for the politics of 2019. You said it earlier, everything that happened yesterday, where, I mean, the day he talked about expanding the cabinet, shows that the battle for 2019 has started. So, but what people will expect him to do is to leave the snail speed back and use the tiger.
We are talking about the battle for 2019.
Yes. Yeah.
Will Mr. President contest?
I think that is a decision. That is a decision only him could
because when
take.
you see but that battle has started.
It has started. Everyone has seen now that the president, from the body language, because you know
his campaign offices, his campaign opening,
of course, the vote of confidence on the APC chairman, the meeting that this first meeting that he's holding, the meeting that he held with the stakeholders, you know, the leader of the party, the leadership of the National Assembly, that meeting, everything is showing that the president is interested. The body language, you know, the popular body language is showing that. And I want to believe categorically now that he's someone that everything he has been doing, I think he has been doing that deliberately. I want to believe now that he will move at the level that is expected of him, I think from the party level. Now, the next 2 years is the year that will decide whether those that are so important to the 2019 realizations with him are being taken care of. So I believe now is the time to do it, and he's doing it.
Jela is talking the next 2 years. But for those of us who don't understand it, we shouldn't get it. We shouldn't get it twisted in the sense that a lot of people feel that 2019 election. I tell people that the presidential election, according to our next timetable, is February 2019.
Yes.
All the presidential primaries, all the governorship primaries, all the nomination and everything by October would have been rounded off. Yes. So that means as we are entering 2018, governance will
be on recess. We'll be on recess.
Yes.
Practically be on recess.
Yes, and that is what it means. That is what it means.
Okay, let me pick Akinola. Akinola is calling us from Abuja. Thank you so much, Aki.
Yeah, how are you?
Yes, go ahead with your contribution. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, actually, what I want to contribute is, when you're talking about, you said the president is trying to continue his tenure for 2019. From my own perspective, I think the president should go and rest. He has tried, yes, fine. He has tried to conquer the corruption issues we have on ground. And also, he should just try and put things together. APC should put heads together. Then look for we need younger people to run this thing, this government, so to say. So please, I think Buhari should go and rest, please.
Thank you, Akinola. But for a benefit of that, Akinola, the president has not indicated his intention to run, at least not officially.
And he also has not said he's not running.
And he has not said he's not running either. And he's still consulting. He might still be consulting the average Nigerian politician after consulting with my people and, the pressure. I can't but listen to. We know how all this is pan out. Yeah. But GKB, when you look at days ahead, the All Progressive Congress, I'm still worried because if you watch the interview of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the former governor of Lagos State, the reaction to even that question of if President Buhari contests. What did you say? I think he said, don't ask me that question.
Don't ask me that question.
I have the right to rebel against him.
He doesn't also speak for him.
So he's not speaking for him, he's not speaking against him. Yeah. And I was told that, according to what we gathered in the papers, that the vote of confidence, there was a vote of confidence.
On the chairman.
Yes. There wasn't, they weren't able to reach consensus on who, maybe it should be the sole candidate for APC. What do you read between the lines?
Well, I have to go back a little bit to the meeting held by the APC Southwest Caucus a few weeks ago, where they said that all bets are off. That as far as the presidency is concerned, nobody has indicated interest. And so there is no basis to do anything for anybody.
According to Baba Konde.
There's no need to endorse anybody because nobody has come out openly to say they are contesting. And that, to me, was the first salvo. It was going to be 18, 20 months of drama. It was that decision that led to other zones meeting. It was that decision that forced the National Party, the working committee, to meet, and forced people who have not seen eye to eye physically for about a year. They are forced to smile at the camera for about 2-3 minutes.
And they give us the sound bites that we
to show the reality. But Nigeria has moved beyond that. The party is in disarray. The president, as the leader of the party, has not shown, for the country, as the leader of the party, has not shown leadership for the party. Don't get me wrong. He may have shown leadership as the leader of the country, but as the leader of the party, he has failed. What I see is going on is what we call damage control. Because everything that the party stood for has been turned upside down. The much vaunted anti-corruption war is teetering on the brink of collapse. And the only thing that's holding the party together is power. There are a lot of these stakeholders not even getting a bite off. So what the president is simply doing is trying to put together a motor car that is rickety.
But moving.
But still moving. I'm hoping that this vehicle will deliver, whether it runs or not, it's irrelevant.
We get to the bus stop.
All right. After this break, policemen arrested. A policeman was arrested for abducting and raping a 14-year-old girl in Anambra. Stay with us. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll take this breather. We'll be right back after this timeout. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. We are reaching you live from Television Continental in our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. The Nigerian police is suffering from acute character deficiency. Nigerians have been let down again and again by men and women in black that have become the worst threats to the peace they were supposed to keep. Many Nigerians have been killed by drunk policemen. A police officer in Bayelsa once killed a colleague over 20,000 naira bribe. Some police officers recently burgled former President Goodluck Jonathan's house and stole valuable assets they were supposed to be protecting. The list goes on. But when many thought the era of shame and moral bankruptcy was over, a police corporal allegedly abducted and raped a 14-year-old girl for days in Anambra State. When will this impunity and show of shame stop? Charles, yes. Sometimes when I see some of my police friends, and especially my friends, they know themselves.
They are watching you.
So we know. It's always like, you guys don't take it easy on us. You guys don't, you don't understand our plight. We also have our own side of the story too. And I said, look, it's going to be difficult to listen to your side of the story by the time you're always in the news for all the wrong reasons, day in, day out, in spite of what is wrong with our men in black.
Well, this is what the Americans would call a downer. This is a downer for the police at this period. Because every time we talk about the police, as you said, it's for the wrong reason. If it's not for IG allegedly impregnating a junior officer.
That's a private affair.
Private? Well, as if it's allegedly.
Did he do it? Did he do it wearing the uniform?
Or we're talking about 10 billion naira every month. So all of these things, they are all what constitute a downer for the police image, which they have to do something about. Corporal Barau Garba. Okay, it's force number 275601.
Even
was attached, yes, attached to the FDS Force Mobile Police Sokoto Command. Only got redeployed to Anambra State on a special duty, right? We must look at issues. Now, this same little girl, a minor that he alleged to have defied, he lives in Asaba. So the father, the outside quarter in Asaba, the father sent her to Onitsha, just across the bridge to go get some provisions. Along the line, the girl misplaced the transport fare that would have taken her back to Asaba. So as she was wondering, that was when the policeman now, got to see her, which is good. You have found somebody wondering. Two things they ought to have done. Number one, be a good Samaritan. Provide the money, or just take a phone. Okay, let me call your father. I found so but I'll give her the money to. If you don't want to go to the right channel, or you take her to the nearest division to report to them as a missing person. You didn't do that. You now took the girl, allegedly so, to your house. 1 day, 2 days, and so on. And then the man even said he didn't do anything with the girl. So, but thank God for the smartness of the girl. Yes, one of those days, the girl now, he now got hold of the man's phone. Through what she now called her father. That was when this thing was now discovered. So the question I'm asking is that somebody who is a corporal in the police should be in his either late 30s or early 40s. So what could have been the interest? What could have been the attraction to a 40-year-old girl? If you wanted to do something with any lady, couldn't you go to a prostitute, a commercial sex worker?
Pay as you go.
Who is even more experienced in what you wanted? But why go to a hapless girl? Look at what the image can cause to the police. So this case has to be really, really dealt with.
Honestly.
It should serve as a deterrent to some of these lascivious policemen who go about, preying on these minors. It's honestly, as I said later, it's really a downer for the police image.
GKB is not a nice person. GKB said pay as you go. It is not. Adela, when we talk about, in terms of their training, in terms of the orientation, what they go through, I remember if you're training, the basic training you have through the Nigerian military school, I have some friends that actually went through that training, the orientation.
Yeah. The discipline?
Yes, from the Nigerian military school, some of them proceeded to the Nigerian Defense Academy. So today, most of my contemporaries, they are like brigadier generals, colonels, redneck colonels and everything. And when you look at their thinking, their orientation, you know that these people are well trained. Yeah. Some of them were sent to Sandhurst.
Yeah,
military academy,
in Britain.
One of the best academies, military academy they want. But where did we get it wrong? The caliber of people you see wearing black, as in standing as a policeman.
Okay, let me first of all put a caveat on it now that we have a lot of fine professional officers in the Nigerian police force. A lot of them. Those that we know and those that we do not know. We should establish that fact. But I think this guy is a black sheep, as they usually say. Whose action is to soil the image of that.
Or let me put it like this. Is it the junior officers that are not trained enough, well trained? Because the fine officers I know.
I think it's part of it.
Do you understand?
No, I think
I
know
some extremely 6 months they're out of police college. It's not enough.
Yeah, let's establish a fact now. It's not only even those in uniform that perpetrate this nefarious acts. It happens few days to the case of this Ariyo in Osun State in Ilesha that raped a woman that is 85-year-old. This case happened few days after the guy was paraded. The guy was paraded a few days ago. So
was he a policeman?
It was not a policeman. That's to establish.
When you're a policeman,
certain standards are expected. Yes. I wanted to quickly use that one to establish the fact that it's not only those that are officers. But this case now, if you want to start treating it, isolate it and treat it, is one that is so pathetic. From the account of the Commissioner of Police in Anambra State, even though he didn't parade this Barao, this officer, he didn't parade him, but he told journalists that the guy denied that only what he admitted was that he saw the guy and he kept him, and he's facing
adoption?
Changing for adoption. Yes. But the office, the Commissioner of Police established that the guy is going to be disciplined because, as an officer, certain standards are expected of you. You have seen a lady that it came out of your mind to assist her. Why don't you take her to a station, a division? Why do you need to take her to your home and kept her there for days till the lady now, picked your phone and called her father? So it's something that is so wrong and so pathetic. Not even thinking of the fact that you now start, having carnal knowledge of a 14-year-old for days. It's something. It's so pathetic. For every father will know that what this guy has done is, aside from even facing the punishment of men or man, he's going to face the punishment of God Almighty, because from all perspectives you want to take to look at it, it's wrong. It's condemnable.
Well, I said everything that needed to be said. We have to be careful, though, about coming to conclusions when it comes to the police. Are not having the best of times. A few weeks ago, we were just talking about the senator who was accusing the IG of certain things.
That's right.
I also have cases all over. The reason why I'm not really shocked at this is that most of the cases that don't get to the press doesn't mean things like this do not happen.
Yes.
It's more rampant than we assume. And I think the police leadership needs to up their game and find solutions to indiscipline among the rank and file. We all know that it takes only 6 months to train
only 6 months.
A Nigerian constable. And most of them are posted far away from their areas of relative comfort. They have no family.
And this is my brother from Sokoto to Anambra.
They have nothing. When it comes to the mobile police, you have to be on the ground, and you're not sure where you're going to sleep the next day. There are things you need to look at the way police is constructed. And then we use that as a tool to solve our problems. This is not an isolated case, I can tell you. It's more rampant than we assume. I just don't like showing indignation when they come out, because as journalists we are aware that people have been locked up without anything in certain police stations. You know police officers who will tell you There's the money from people that they pick on the road, that they used to buy fuel to run the generators.
Wandering.
We all know that wandering is not in our laws. It's not part of our laws
At all. So,
It's just a creation of the colonialists, which has been abandoned by the 1979 Constitution. But the police still use it as a tool of extortion. When people who don't know any better. So there is no, between you and I, there's nothing anyone can tell me about the rank and file of the police that will surprise me. Because like you said, you meet some of them who are drunk on duty, some who are blatant beggars, and they blight the reputation of those fine officers who have dedicated their lives to. Because remember, while you are sleeping, they cannot sleep.
you can't sleep.
Yes.
And that thing has a psychological problem on even normal people. Not to talk of a man who is always in danger in the dark of night, whose insurance, if he dies, we are not really sure
He
if he
hardly
will
gets
get.
much.
Most of their people will be thrown out after 3 months in
yes.
the barracks. And then you expect them to do more than this. It's not an excuse. All I'm saying is that this is not an isolated case. It's part of a deeper rot of the Nigerian law enforcement template. That we need to. We've talked about state police, we talk about regional police, but unless and until we start treating these people as human beings, then we'll continue to happen.
I quickly want to add to that because when you take, I was almost going to be a policeman, but
Thank God you're not.
but when you look at the 6 months in Antigua, I think what they are trained to hate the society because, you know, for instance, okay, there's a place called Fagba in Lagos. The policemen have been stationed there for a while now. I don't know how they take their bath. I don't know how they use the toilet. The ammo tank they are giving, that's where they have their clothes. So in the evening when they come out during at about 7 p.m., they come out and they'll be harassing because mostly maybe they have not eaten since morning. So they will need to have some comfort. So I think the police, especially the Rakaba, are trained to hate the society, and because society is made to hate them.
I don't want to believe so. But
That's I say. That's I say.
Something must be done quickly so that we don't just. We have to move on, gentlemen.
Yes.
Ask me about the quality of Nigerian education, and I will show you some teachers from Kaduna State. Their story is too troubling, too disappointing to be true. It's a mixture of surprise and anger. In September, Governor Nasiru El-Rufai said 50% of them failed primary 4 exams. Primary 4 exams. The same exams their students passed without sweats. This revelation sent shivers down the spine of many. Some thought the news was a bit exaggerated. Last month, the Kaduna State government released the figures. Sadly, more than 1,000 teachers were caught in the web. Between then and now, there has been a love lost between the governor and the Nigerian Union of Teachers in the states. The union has threatened to down tools in solidarity with the colleagues. Now, the governor is insisting on sacking the teachers who failed the controversial examination. What is going on here? Number one, Diola, should we take NUT serious in this? Because part of the question, they were asked to, teachers were asked to name types of crop, cash crop.
Even the source of, even the source of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes. I think
Basic everyday question.
I think it's not an issue to be treated, you know. Yes, that is number one. Then number two, I don't believe the approach the governor is going to be used. I'm not faulting it outrightly, but I don't see it as the best of the approach that he has on the table.
What do you mean by this?
Okay, thank you. This teacher, over 21,000 teachers failed these exams. Their pupils passed this exam. Yeah. It is from every indication has shown that it's something that just started today. We have discussed it here where I advocated a state of emergency in the educational sector. These teachers have been teaching those that have, left primary school to secondary school and in the university now. So what I believe is that, sending them, you will not expect NUT to just fold his arms and not react. What I want to say now is that, there is a standard that the governor is expecting from people. There is a standard that even the UNESCO is expecting from the governor. How much is voted for education in the state? It's not, I believe that it's pathetic. It's something that shouldn't be even discussed.
I think you are contradicting yourself.
Yeah. I'm not contradicting myself.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is that the governor should not take that drastic route.
No. Listen, this is what I said. I said I can't condemn his action outrightly. I can't say that I cannot.
It's either you condemn it or
you don't. You can't stay.
Don't stay in between here.
I know. I can stay in between, and I'll give you my reason.
There's no fence.
I'll give you my reason. I'll give you my reason. He has conducted these exams, and this number has failed. That is a fact. 21,000. You will not expect that he will want to sack them, and NUT will not react.
Charles,
NUT will react. You know how sensitive. But whether the reaction is right or wrong is another case.
Charles, this. You know how sensitive this is, because the foundation of our children, when they don't have the right foundation, and when you don't, and you know how important this is, and Governor Nasir El-Rufai is one of those first-class brains that actually respects going through his CV, going through his, and I know that this man understands the importance. Even as a governor, Nasir El-Rufai left his seat of power to go to Harvard, to go and do his PhD.
Yes.
He left whatever, do you understand? So it shows that this man understands, the value of education. So when you're saying a primary 4 teacher cannot pass the exams, is giving pupil, that means it's like sitting on a keg of gunpowder.
Look, if you ask me, I think I'm 110% with El-Rufai in this. I may not be his fan, but on this,
I'm his fan.
I say I may not be his fan on many things he has done, but on this, I am 110% with him. I have pitched my tent with him, because how do you explain it? First of all, we also have to look at politically. The North has been regarded as the educationally backward state. No governor will like that sobriquet to be stamped upon any state. You say, okay, the state I pretend over is educationally backward. So what he wants to, and there's somebody who also places very high premium on education. There's no way he can watch why those people who have been charged with the responsibility of training tomorrow's leaders, they are failing their responsibility. I think NUT, Kaduna State, should hide his head in shame. I expected them to say, Governor, now that we have got to this level, what do you think we should do? Rather than threatening the system. They should be providing solution. Oh, Governor, look, what you need to do is that temper justice with mercy. Can we retrain them? I mean, there's always a window for retraining people. So, but rather than being headstrong, you need to say, oh, if you sack them, we're going to down to, you're down to, go ahead and down to. If all of them, assessment, there's no way you do continuous assessment in order to make people. We are journalists. I can't remember how many times I have gone for retraining. Yes. Because the journalist that started in 2000, the journalist I was in 1999 it can't start today, because in 1999 most of us we're not internet savvy. We're not internet savvy. But now some of us are running blogs and so on, because we have been retrained. So we need to understand that El-Rufai, for me, is treading the right path, and I will support him to the end.
I think this is not just about supporting El-Rufai.
No.
This is fundamentally standing up for what is truth, the truth.
Because he's promoting the truth.
And looking at what could be of, how will I call, greater effect in future.
Yeah.
If this is allowed to stay because of political consideration. Right now, El-Rufai might be looking for a second time in office. And this is not a time, because it's not a politically correct decision.
Correct time to do, exactly.
It's not a time to lay out 21,000.
He will get the fireman treatment.
Thank you. 16-0.
But you know, somebody didn't do a recanted because of
so, are you sure El-Rufai is not going to back down on this, looking at political experience?
I think
21,000 teachers.
They are going to come to a mutually beneficial conclusion. I think what he's doing is the right thing to threaten them. That means will now force them beyond where they will normally accept. Because if you tell them we are going to retrain you, they will still resist. But if you tell them I'm going to sack you, they will now take the retraining as the last option. Well, you cannot make omelets without breaking eggs. the Nigerian education system, just like the police, have a lot of problems that we keep pretending are not there. And that's why we are going to pay the price sooner than later. And Kaduna is very strategic when it comes to the interest of Nigeria and the interest of the North, because it's their capital. It's also where you can see a lot of variable in terms of the population. Unlike some areas where it's purely ethnically not balanced. So it's a battle he has to win. I don't think he's going to sack anybody. I think they are going to come to compromise. Some of them will be trained. Some of them will lose their jobs. Some of them, I'm sure, are not even qualified to teach that level they are teaching. All these, of course, factors. Well, we all know he's a politician. And he must accommodate the interests of his party. And he can tell you whatever he wants. He's not interested. But along the line, those who think they were tougher than him, what's
the requirement to be a teacher now? Do we still have this grade 2 thing?
Yeah. No, you don't have the NTI. That's what they call NTI.
How about the NCE?
No, NTI. If you had NCE, you are supposed to go do some courses in university, or you have this NTI, what they call the National Teachers Institute.
Kaduna
so Kaduna is also Kaduna, but they have a branch here in Lagos. So that's why the training is very. So if you, for instance, if you had a TTC, the one they call TTC in those days, which is just like living secondary school, then you need to go higher. I mean, there are windows for the training. I don't know why these people became analog and they can't pass the for exam.
Yes, and to add to it, the headquarters of NTI is even in Kaduna.
So what was the excuse?
So the point I was just trying to make, I think you can see it now, you can infer it now, is that I'm very, very sure that at the end of the day, they will still sit on the table. The reason I said I can't condemn what he has said is at least to push them. At least to push them, at the end of the day, we'll get something. But you all understand that it's not easy to sack 21,000 people. So at the end of the day, he will do that, and I believe that they too should, up their game. It's on heart of
21,000.
So it's on heart of.
We want to bring it 25,000.
He said the state council has approved, employment of 25,000 new teachers. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think the best is for the NUT.
What if those new people they are bringing in, they are qualified?
No, that's why he's going.
That's the plan that he has.
Screened,
yes, they have
been qualified.
They are qualified.
Some of them might be graduates in education, as a specialized teachers.
I think the last thing he said about that I read was that there's an approval for them to employ, not that they have employed. But I've not read that they have, but there's an approval by the state council that they should employ 25,000, at least to replace the over 21,000 that they are planning to sack.
Okay, he has not employed.
He has not employed. From what I read, he has not employed.
But what if those people are better qualified? Should we use sentiment in this?
It's not sentiment.
It's not sentiment. It's not sentiment.
Are better qualified, younger, and
you want to drive education in the Kaduna state using
but don't forget, it's still a public sector. There are still rules of engagement. The way you are talking now is like you're talking from a private sector.
A private sector. That's why I said 21,000.
You cannot simply lose their jobs. So they have to pay them off.
Yes,
they have to be retired.
Severance packages.
There are so many things they're entitled to as being part of the system. So that's why sometimes when the governor talks, I understand what he's trying to say. But the reality of the system, we checkmate him anyway to conform one way or the other. Some of them will go, definitely, don't get me wrong.
Yes,
maybe
a lot of them are
maybe 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 will go and they will be replaced. But I bet you, not the entire 21,000 will be sacked.
So that is the point I was making from the start of the
for making it better.
Moving forward, beyond Kaduna State now, we see this state, we especially around maybe up north. I don't want
everywhere.
Okay, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Let me please say,
yes.
Everywhere. The standard of education is gradually, declining, on a steady decline.
But some of us went through schools, I mean, in the 80s.
Public schools.
Yeah, you had student teachers even coming because of what they were receiving from those schools. And they were using them as auxiliary level. But they had qualifications that they were using to now complement the existing teachers. Why? Because the system they went through were founded on excellence. But today now what you have microwave training system where you have people who are small, everything's about Facebook and so they are not deep again in learning. You give a child, I mean, my son today now will see fight. In most cases, you find him, but when he finds all these devices, he's at home. Give him a book as he's reading, the guy he dozes off. We're only fighting. because of the influence of the television, the influence of the social media, the influence of all these things. All those days, I mean, when I was growing up, there was no Facebook, so we had books to face. Okay. We were facing a book.
It's a problem that is, everywhere in the country. And I want to believe that, even going back to Kaduna State, the governor is one of the governors that has voted close to 1/5 of the entire budget for education. He has not met the UNESCO standard, but because I checked, he voted for 44.84 billion naira for education in the last budget.
Which is applaudable.
It's a very good one. But it can still do more. I want to believe that the educational sector of that state, it should declare a state of emergency. These teachers that...
Which he has started doing.
He has not declared the state of emergency. The only thing...
emergency already.
That is in the primary school. That is in primary school. Don't forget that this same crop of teachers have, trained, quote and unquote, students that have to... So,
GKB.
Nigeria will get better eventually.
I want to thank you, GKB, for being part of this program. Charles, Idaho.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting edition of Journalist Hangout. Now we can watch the repeat broadcast tonight on DSTV 418, GoTV 45, and all our other platforms as displayed on the screen. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.